kill her baby and kill herself. So she's a homicidal, suicidal maniac is what she actually is in this passage. He says, I walked home from the office and found Meg sitting on the stairs. She was sobbing uncontrollably. My love, what's happened? I thought for sure we'd lost the baby. I went to her on my knees. She choked out that she didn't want to do this anymore. Do what? Live. I didn't catch her meaning at first. I didn't understand. Maybe didn't want to understand. My mind just didn't want to process the words. It's all so painful, she was saying. What is? To be hated like this. For what? What had she done? She asked. She really wanted to know. What sin had she committed to deserve this kind of treatment? She just wanted to make the pain stop, she said. Not only for her, but for everyone. For me. For her mother. But she couldn't make it stop, so she had decided to disappear. Disappear? Without her, she said, all the press would just go away. And then I wouldn't have to live like this. Our unborn child would never have to live like this. So if she kills the baby won't have to live through bad press. That's what she's saying to her husband as she's crying, right? If I kill our child, then our child won't have to read all of the bad press. It's so clear, she kept saying. It's so clear. I just have to stop breathing. Stop being. This exists because I exist. I begged her not to talk like that. I promised her that we'd get through it and that we'd find a way. In the meantime, we'd find her the help she needed. I asked her to be strong and to hang on. And that, my friends, is the point in this book where Meghan orchestrates manipulating him to leave the royal family. And he can't see it because he's thick, as we've learned throughout this entire book. He's very thick, and he believes everything that she says. He believes every time she cries, every time he finds her in the heap on the floor sobbing over mundane things like bridesmaid dresses. He really believes that she's a person that's in pain. So this is a 40-year-old woman who manipulated her way from the bottom to the top by marrying somebody who was the producer on the show who gave her her start in life, then divorcing him and finding a prince that is too thick to see what everybody else in the entire world can see. And of course, by the way, he's got an incredible memory when it comes to his conversations with Meg. He's got an incredible memory about every instance that he and Willie have a bang up and a mash up, and every time that they exchange words. But during a particular phone call in which Willie clearly laid out for him why he disliked Meg.
Babe, are you serious?
No. Again, point by point by point, explaining to him how rude she had been to people that worked at the palace, how rude she had been to Kate. Harry, his memory just goes foggy. He says he's too tired to remember what Willie had even said on the phone. He was just too exhausted. He doesn't remember anything that Willie said in that entire discussion. That disallows us to then assess whether or not Willie maybe had some points about the fact that he was concerned that his brother was going to marry someone that everyone thinks is a sociopathic narcissist. He can't remember that part. It's too foggy. All he remembers from that conversation are that her tears were glistening. Meghan overheard it, and her tears were glistening as she held her belly, and she was pregnant before she threatened to kill her unborn child. So, yeah, it goes on and on with how many times we learn that Meghan cried and was in a heap and was in a puddle, and I think we're supposed to feel bad for her. And Harry, I think by the end of this book, you're supposed to realize that Harry is just a really sad, unfortunate person.
I feel good. I feel happy.
Because he was born to give a spare kid.
Fact. Breaking tonight in a major world exclusive interview with GB News star Nigel Farage, Donald Trump has tackled every big issue in international politics. Okay. And speaking from Scotland, the former US president who is running for the Republican nomination has slammed the troubled and scandal-plagued ex-First Minister of Scotland, Scheming Sturgeon, for damaging her nation. Trump weighed in on the shocking case of double rapist Isla Bryson, who exposed the failing SNP's sick gender reform bill after he was sent to a women's prison. Watch.
Well, I think a lot of countries have had enough of it, what's going on. And I know that case, and I thought it was terrible, and I guess it helped ruin her career. Okay. I think she had other reasons also. But I just felt she didn't love Scotland. Well, they just said, I just walked by and there was a big crowd for a wedding, a beautiful wedding, incredible people. And they were not happy with the people that were running Scotland, let's put it that way. They said, run for first minister, sir, run for first minister.
That doesn't make sense.
One of about 20 massive scoops from that fascinating sit-down. So to react now, I'm delighted to be joined by the man behind the extraordinary exclusive interview, Nigel Farage, live from Scotland. And also senior advisor to Trump's presidential campaign, Jason Miller. So look, Nigel, we've got lots to unpick here, but can we start with Scotland? Because obviously this is a huge scandal. What's going on in Scotland at the moment. Most of the mainstream media in the UK seem to want to ignore what's going on. So it's very significant, isn't it, to see Trump talking in this way about the failed regime of Nicola Sturgeon.
Well, look, I mean, 3 weeks ago we had Sleepy Joe spending 4 days in Ireland because his great-great-grandparents left there in 1840. But hey, I'm Irish, despite the fact Biden's an English name and he's got relations in Surrey. Donald Trump has a lot more Scotland in him than Joe Biden has Ireland in him.
Fact.
He clearly admired and loved his mother, Mary McLeod, hugely. She was a West Coaster, of course, Western Isles. And that was why Turnberry was the most appropriate place, I thought, to meet him.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
He cares a lot about Scotland. This is the first American president, possibly in decades, that really cares about the relationship with the UK. And it's there within him at an emotional level. Make no mistake about any of that.
So that was a lie.
I thought what he said about Sturgeon was interesting. Basically, what he's saying is that her actions were against the interests of Scotland.
Okay.
That Scotland became a place that rather than put money into, people took money out of. That was said with great, great passion. He was fairly neutral about the new First Minister, but then he doesn't really know him very well. I did remind him of one or two of the quotes. But no, I thought the stuff he said on Scotland was very powerful, very interesting. And let me tell you.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
This Turnberry Hotel, golf and spa complex, in the height of season, employs 500 well-paid people. Without it, goodness knows where this coastline would be. So, this is really important stuff.
Okay.
And the idea that a first minister wouldn't encourage someone like Donald Trump to invest, rather want to have a fight with him the whole time, I thought he highlighted that pretty well.
I know, it's a brilliant hotel, Turnberry. And Jason Miller.
Over there. What is the mood about them over there?
Well, Piers, this is, again, it seems like we talk about this all the time. Whenever I'm lucky enough to do your show, the feeling of Americans, and we have absolutely had it. And the temerity of Harry to go on an American morning breakfast program.
That doesn't make sense.
Good Morning America, and use a sort of trumped up event a year out promoting the Invictus Games to happen next year to soft pedal some sort of possible reconciliation with Prince Charles, and then to later leapfrog off of that with a story placed in the Times of London with this bombshell claim that not only did Harry want to return and was willing to help out, what an offer, but that the palace might be open to that as well. It's been really a remarkable 2 weeks. Are
you serious?
In terms of just the timeline of events and the series of humiliations that Harry and Meghan have suffered, from the breakneck 24-hour trip to London to the UK to see Charles, and to get only 30 minutes to hear later from Charles's staff that they, quote, couldn't wait to get rid of him because they were afraid he would never leave, to William not seeing him nor speaking to him.
So that was a lie.
To William then saying emphatically, and Charles's office briefing emphatically, there is no way back for these two. And when you couple that with Meghan's rare quietude this week, she was seen but not heard from on GMA in America. She was barely mentioned in the Times of London, and when she was, it was at the bottom of the piece.
Are you serious?
I actually think there's quite a lot of intrigue happening right now, and it will continue to unfold in the coming weeks and days.
Yeah, and I'm afraid the cynic in me says that this is all because their life in America is
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
not going as well as they hoped. The millions have been stemmed by them being turfed off platforms like Spotify because they were effing grifters, according to one of the executives there, and produced terrible content.